Okay, guys, we're going to go over what you're going to do for day 9, which is summarize the text in your thing. So you're going to do this work with Jabari Jumps. You have the text, and I read it to you on one of these previous posts, so you should have listened to it, and then you're going to summarize the text. I'm not going to summarize Jabari Jumps, though, because that's your work. I'm going to do it off of our book, Rosie. And I put a link on the Facebook page so that the astronaut read it to you instead of Miss Bain, because that's way cooler for an astronaut to read a book than Miss Bain. So you should have listened to it. And so I'm going to use this book to show you what you should be doing with Jabari Jumps. So when we're summarizing a text, we have to remember there's some things that we have to do. One, we have to talk about the character and how the character is in the beginning, the middle, and the end of the book. What's happening? Make sure we list the problem, how the problem solved, and put it in some kind of order, because it makes no sense to have a summary if it's not in some kind of order. So I'm going to give you an example of what I did with Rosie, and you are going to do the same thing with Jabari Jumps, okay? So I just started off by saying what happened in the beginning. So in the beginning of the book, Rosie was a curious girl who loved to make inventions. She would make things for her family until one day her uncle laughed at her. There's where our problem comes in. That made her feel like a failure, and from that day on, she kept her dreams to herself. Then one day, her aunt came and told her she wanted to fly. Rosie wasn't sure she could build something that would fly, but tried it anyhow. Her invention flew for a second, and then it hit the ground. Still part of our problem. Her aunt was laughing, and Rosie thought that her aunt was laughing at her because it failed. Rosie told herself she would never be a great engineer. Her aunt stopped her and reminded her that it did crash, but before that, it flew. The only true way for it to be a failure is to just give up. From then on, Rosie celebrated her failures. Okay, so that is how you do a summary. You make sure that you include the characters, that you include what happened in the beginning, middle, the end. You listed the problem, and it's a half page or less. Now, this is a really big font, which makes why it makes this a full page, but it wouldn't have been that big if I would have written it out. Okay, so any questions, let me know.